The sellers who are the easiest ones to work with, the ones who stay calm when challenges come up, the ones who trust your guidance and follow your advice, those sellers were educated well before the process started, and an educated seller is going to be your easiest seller. In that education, it's not their responsibility, it's yours. As their agent, you can make this process so much easier for them, but also for yourself. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to prepare your seller for every stage of the home selling process. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this will create raving fan. What does seller communication or education entail? You don't know what to say? DM me on Instagram at PK Residential or Facebook and book a call, my calendar link below, because let's be honest, you need to have a conversation to learn the process and do what it takes to take care of these sellers. So the most problems in a listing transaction, they're not caused by the market or difficult buyers. It's because they're caused by unmet expectations of a seller. A seller who expected an offer in 3 days will panic when 15 days go by. Or a seller who didn't know what the inspection contingency meant and that they're going to ask for repairs, potentially, they're going to be upset and you're going to have to navigate their emotions. The seller who didn't understand the escrow timeline might push back when there's a delay. But all of that is preventable. When you walk your seller through what's going to happen before it even happens, then they're not surprised by any of it. They trust you because you already told them the truth up front, and they become the easiest clients to work with when they're educated. Every seller, I let them know, look, when the closing date is set for this date, it's about 60% of transactions will see a delay in closing, whether it's a day or a week. So while the closing day is what it is, we could potentially be delayed. Ideally, we close on closing day, but it may be slightly after that. So that gets them comfortable with being flexible. And then when the time comes, if we close on closing day, they're pumped, they're ecstatic. But if it gets delayed a day or two, they're not losing their mind and you don't have to calm them down, or they be unreasonable and they request things from the buyers. This is why you do the work up front. So when you're at the listing appointment or slightly after they sign, what you can do is you're gonna walk them through the timeline. You're going to sit down with your seller and walk them through a realistic timeline from the day of listing to the day of close. Cover every major stage. Go through pre-listing preparation, what they're going to need to do, what's going to happen when we go live, how does the showings go. Some people might accidentally leave the door unlocked. Lights might be left off. You got to set expectations for these sellers so they don't get upset and predict the unpredictable. These expected timeframes for offers need to be communicated. Accepting and opening escrow, when their appraisal happens, when earnest money is due, their final walkthrough and closing, all of this needs to be talked about and it needs to be done up front. And be honest about the timing and that some of this can be fluid and ever changing. If the average days on market and their price range is 21 days, say, hey, look, the average days on market is 21 days, but there are variations to that. I know there's been some times where it could be 90 days, or there's somewhere it's 2 days, but don't promise 2 days to win the listing, because that's going to set you up with a frustrated seller who is wondering what the heck is going on because their home didn't sell in 2 days. But when sellers know the time frame, they're going to have more patience with you. They're going to be calm. And when they don't, every single moment is a stress ball for them. So sellers need to understand what showings look like before they happen. So you gotta set them up with the showing process. This conversation can prevent a lot of stress. You need to tell them that they're gonna receive showing requests. We're gonna try to get at least a 2-hour advance notice when possible. But sometimes some people might be out showing homes and they see the listing and they might wanna pop in and tour the property within 30 minutes. If we can accommodate them, we want to accommodate and get as many people through the door as possible. So it's important that you keep your home clean, make sure you make the bed, make sure that the dishes are put away, the surfaces are clean, pet bowls are removed, and tell them the process. Give them a checklist of what they need to do before every single tour. Make sure to tell them to leave for showings. Some sellers don't realize that they need to be away from the home and not in the house. A seller who's present during a showing makes buyers so uncomfortable and it shortens the visit. Buyers need to imagine themselves in the home. They don't want to walk in feeling like they're in the seller's house and the seller is actually in the kitchen in their home. So you got to set the expectations from the jump. And if you prep them well enough for how they should prep the home for tours, You're going to get better feedback from the tours and avoid issues that could come up later. Also, set the expectation that the feedback from the showings is not always going to be immediate and it's not always detailed. Don't let a lack of feedback after showing send your sellers into a spiral. Let them know that sometimes we don't hear feedback for a week or 2 weeks, or sometimes the agent won't ever even answer us. And we just have to take that for what it is. But I'm going to do the best I can and get the feedback for us. And step 3, you need to set offer expectations early. Before the first offer ever arrives, have a conversation about what to expect with an offer, how quick you're going to have to respond, and tell them what a strong offer looks like in the current market. What's a typical earnest money deposit? What are common contingencies? You're likely going to have a financing contingency. What closing timelines are reasonable? Having them prepared for this, they may not remember what you said, but they might remember an idea of what you said once that offer finally comes in, and then they can think back to that conversation. But again, you're going to have to educate them again once the offer comes in. But at least they'll have a somewhat of an understanding to see if this offer is valid and strong. And prepare them for the possibility of multiple offers. If your market supports it, potentially we could get multiple offers, and explain what that looks like. Preparing them for these situations is going to help streamline the negotiation process. So prepare them emotionally. Say, hey, when we get an offer, I want to give you guys 24-hour notice before reacting. However, offers are open to a negotiation and they may ask us to respond quickly so they can know if we're moving forward on their offer or if they should keep looking into other homes. But offers are open to negotiation. They're not a final statement, and our job is to respond strategically and not emotionally, and I will guide you through every single step of the offer process. That one instruction prevents more deal-killing decisions than almost anything else. And step 4, you're going to walk them through escrow before it starts. Once you're in escrow, the pace picks up and the decisions multiply, and sellers who've never been through it before, or maybe only sold one home in their life, or it's been a long time, can get overwhelmed quickly. Before you open escrow, give them a brief overview, explain the inspection contingency and what typically happens after the inspection, explain that the appraisal process and what happens if the home doesn't appraise at value, and explain what a clear to close means and what the final steps will look like with the final walkthrough and what that entails. None of this needs to be a long lecture. It's really just a 15-minute, maybe 20-minute walkthrough at the right moment that saves hours of anxious calls and confused questions later. Educated sellers move with confidence and they move a lot quicker. So you might think, well, my seller has sold a home before. They already know the process. It's not necessarily true. Every transaction is different. Every market is different. And every seller, even experienced ones, benefits from knowing how you work and what your process looks like. Don't skip the education step because someone has done it before. It takes 15 minutes. It sets the tone for your entire working relationship, and it's going to save you hours and headaches later. An educated seller is your easiest seller. I promise you that. And they will go and feel equipped, and they're going to tell their friends and their family how you simplified the process and didn't make them feel stupid. And you walked them through the timeline, prepared them for the showings, set offer expectations before the offer even came in, and walked them through escrow before escrow opened. If you do that consistently, your transactions are going to be so much smoother, your sellers will be calmer, and your referrals will increase. If you don't know how to have these conversations with the sellers, book a call with me on my Calendly link below. I can walk you through the process and help gear up your confidence to be able to navigate these seller conversations with ease and set yourself and the sellers up for success. DM me at PK Residential on Instagram or Facebook, or book using the link in my Calendly below.